China has denounced a U.S. government panel's decision to list Chinese journalists in the U.S. as foreign agents. The U.S. Commission had accused Chinese state media of spying and propaganda and called for their staff in United States to be registered as foreign agents. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Geng Shuang has said that the U.S. report is full of prejudice on China-related issues. China urged the Commission to put an end to what is called wrong words and actions and play a constructive role in developing Sino-U.S. ties. The U.S. Commission, which submitted the report, was set up by the Congress to examine the security implication of U.S.-China trade. It made allegations against the official Chinese news agency Xinhua.
If not,
and I'm joined by China expert and editorial director Sunday Guardian, Mr. Nalapat. So my question to you is that to call Chinese journalists working part of the official media to be working for China, doing propaganda and actually accusing them of espionage, is the relationship between America and China deteriorating visibly on open platforms?
Well, I'm sorry to say that because of the Hillary Clinton-inspired attack on President Trump, and President Trump, frankly, getting much more weakened as a consequence of this huge attack, the intelligence agencies in the U.S. are now pursuing their own agenda. They have now, for example, drawn first blood by defining RT as essentially a wing of the KGB. And now they are broadening that, and they're going into Chinese agencies such as Xinhua also. Now, the fact is, if you look at Delhi, for example, I'm very certain that each of the foreign correspondents in Delhi has very close links, personal, with their own embassies. The American journalists will be visiting the U.S. embassy and meeting embassy personnel. The British journalists will be going to the U.S., the British High Commission, and meeting British envoys, and of course American envoys. Now, can all this be called espionage? The reality is actually this is an extremely dangerous, slippery slope. Now, you have in the U.S. journalists embedded with the army. Are they going to be considered part of the Pentagon as a consequence of that? I think, very frankly, journalists get information, they give information to various individuals, they sometimes give information to sources to get more information. I think the Americans have done a very wrong precedent in going after RT and now going after Chinese. And I think this is going to have an effect on American journalists in Russia, in China. And frankly, you know, this kind of a war is going to break loose across the globe.
You stay with me, Professor Nalapat, strategic affairs expert. Mr. Chelani, Brahm Chelani is also with me. Mr. Chelani, your views on it? Sir, yes, sir, yes. Please go on, sir.
Well, let's be clear. Those who work for state-controlled and state-run media are equivalent to state officials, and therefore they will demand that such journalists be registered. That the state organizations.
I think there's a. I think there's a bit of a problem with Mr. Chelani's audio. We'll try to patch ourselves with him. Professor, you said, you know, it has, started, or it has created a very bad precedent. Do you think that there will be a reciprocal, or you expect reciprocal action from China and Russia, as you just mentioned?
Well, I certainly do, and I'd like to point out that, for example, if a Doordarshan correspondent works in the U.S., is he going to register as an Indian agent? If, for example, you have news agencies that are controlled by government across the world, so many countries, are they going to be registered as government agents? The fact of the matter is this is deliberate targeting of Russia and targeting of China, because in the Security Council and elsewhere, these two countries are taking a stand very different from the stand of the United States and other NATO powers. Now, quite frankly, many of these journalists will be having linkages with officials in the government. That's certainly the case. But the reality of the situation is that this kind of a step is going to really create tensions on such a level that it's going to be extremely difficult to foresee what's going to happen. What is very, very clear is that both Russia and China are definitely going to hit back, and people are going to ask the United States. There are so many journalists working in state-controlled entities that are operating there. Why not they also be registered as foreign agents? The whole situation, frankly, is absurd.
Thank you, Professor Nalapat. Thank you for this perspective. So, Professor M.D. Nalapat saying that this move is almost absurd and provocative, and may invite reciprocal action from China and Russia.